All right, it's Dr. Simonds Metabolics. Weight loss, Ask Me Anything live Facebook show. Today is Monday, I don't know, is it March 7th or 8th?
It is. It is
7th,
March
right,
7th.
Monday, March
Yes.
7th. I'm here. I'm Dr. Simonds. I'm here with Michelle Kennedy, Nurse
morning.
Practitioner Michelle Kennedy. For those of you who don't know her, I think you all do. We're open today, as always, in both locations. And it'll be a nice warm day. It'll be a little cloudy, maybe a little bit of rain tonight. But
It's in the 80s here
yes,
in the Triangle.
that's right. It's in the 80s.
Yes.
All right. So we're answering your questions about weight loss, and we're giving away a JCPenney gift card today.
Yeah, switching it
Yes.
up. Normally
That's
Target,
right.
today pennies. We ask you to do two things in order to enter and be eligible to win that gift card on today's show at the end of the show. And that's to like this video and then to comment hashtag Simonds AMA in the comment section.
That's it.
That's all you got to do. And also share any questions that you have live. Thank you to everyone who keeps sending questions so that we can cover them during the show. But we'll also answer anything you want to ask us right now. So shall we jump in?
Let's do the deed.
All right. Gina from Raleigh, what do you think of the carnivore diet? How does it compare to keto? Does it have any additional benefits? Carnivore diet is a newer trend, but something that kind of like keto has been around for a very, 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 very long time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Our ancestors ate animals.
Yes.
Oh, I don't believe it.
Yes. And
Really?
some of our ancestors ate exclusively animals. And that's what the carnivore diet is.
Yes, yes. Did we inherit some DNA from our ancestors?
You know,
I believe we did.
A little bit.
Yes.
A little bit.
I
Yeah.
don't think it came from outer space.
Yeah.
It came from our ancestors who were adapted to eating animals. Yes. So, look, the carnivore diet's great.
Yeah,
Right? And I reject the notion that it might be unhealthy or something like that. I don't think there's any evidence to support that. Carnivore is eating what comes from animals.
Yes, animals and what comes from animals.
Yeah.
A lot of people think of it as a all meat diet, but a lot of carnivore individuals will eat organ meats and eggs because those do come
eggs
from
and cheese. Comes from, right?
Yeah.
Eggs, cheese, butter, sour cream, cream cheese. All this comes from animals, right? So
they do exclude vegetables entirely, generally.
Right.
Generally.
Yeah, and I think that the folks that I see that do it really have very good parameters of health when they do it. Yes, and so I think there's a lot of pros, in my opinion. Look, you can find a bunch of people that, for various reasons, will say it's bad. That's fine. I happen to think that is their arguments are rather intellectually weak. They may have ethical reasons. They may have moral reasons. They just may be allowing the right side of their brain to dominate the left side, and that's okay. There's no problem with that. But to me, I can't find a reason that it's not healthy. I think it's all pro and no con. And when I consider the American population, which pretty much is beset with metabolic syndrome, a way to treat that would be a carnivore diet, right? The lower on carbohydrate you go, the better.
Yeah, and there is no such thing as a non-keto carnivore diet. If you are carnivore, you are automatically on keto. There is a way to be keto without being carnivore, though, right? So there's the difference.
Right.
It's really just the animal portion of a ketogenic diet that you do when you're carnivore. And as far as the additional benefits, like we already touched on, there are a lot, right? When you are in ketosis, there are plentiful benefits that we've talked about. But then there's the additional potential benefits of the carnivore diet for a lot of people with digestive issues or intolerances to vegetables. Right? Vegetables are not unhealthy, but we have to keep in mind plants have defense systems, just like animals do.
Excellent point. Evolutionary derived defense systems that were designed to keep other living things from eating them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And some people really do react poorly due to gut issues, genetics, right? Metabolic stuff going on. They may not do well with a lot or all vegetables. So a carnivore diet can really solve a lot of digestive issues that people have that keto itself may not.
And we got a lot of patients that do carnivore. We got a lot of them that do it. And they're all successful when they do it, incidentally. Every one of them is successful when they do it, but both from the weight standpoint and from the parameters of health standpoint. I mean, I think you bring up this point about the evolutionary defense that plants put up is something that, again, if you just want to be a drone right? If you just want to be a right side brain person and not ever use the logical side of your brain, I think you have to otherwise consider these things, right? And at least give them an honest, if you're just being in the middle of the road, I'm going to consider both sides of it. You have to consider that. The other thing you and I know about is, look, there's about a lot of genetic modification that's taken place in farm-raised plants, all right? And the assumption that this somehow is just going to be something our bodies adapt to really easy, I think it's a faulty assumption, because I just know a lot of people who can't eat certain vegetables without getting all sort of inflammatory phenomenon, stuff like this, right?
And it's not just gut. It can be their joints, their skin, their brain.
It affects a lot of things, right? So I think that this is an area over the next 50 years you're going to see a lot more information about.
I agree.
And you know, when you go back and look at recommendations about eating fruits and vegetables, for example, or eating meat, this other sort of thing, these are more or less kind of consensus thoughts of so-called experts. They don't represent any scientifically validated sort of information. And, you know, to be honest with you, Michelle and I could come up and say, you know what, we recommend eating Twinkies 4 times a day. We think it's going to make you live longer. There's our consensus statement. And you guys would think that's crazy. But that's exactly how recommendations about vegetables and fruits and so forth came about. And I think we would be negligent in our scientific duty if we just accepted that without looking to see, now, wait a minute. This is really hard to test people over a long period of time. So those sort of trials won't be done. But what happens in the short term when we look at various parameters of health, when we feed people this stuff, right? And so this is where the clinical part of medicine comes in. You can't design a trial about everything, right? I mean, I can't design a trial to say, okay, look, we're going to test parachutes out of airplanes. We're going to have one group jump with the parachute and the other without the parachute. And let's see what happens, right? Because the group without the parachute is all going to die, right? Okay, so you can't do that kind of study. And there's some limitations on what kind of studies you can do. You can't study people over a period of 40 or 50 years on what they eat. This is impossible to do. And then make some sort of reasonable assumption about the effect that it had. So we're really kind of confined to, hey, what do we see when we treat people with these various nutritional therapies? And I happen to think the carnivore diet is something that, to me, is a good thing for most people.
I completely agree. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're just answering our first question about the carnivore diet on the AMA Live. I see some people have entered for our gift card, $25 JCPenney. I see, well, just Ethel. You now have 100% chance.
You're in the lead. You're in the lead, Ethel. That's right.
Thank you, Ethel. If anyone else is watching, wants to rival Ethel,
right.
remember to like this video, hashtag Simonds AMA in the comment section.
Yeah. Love it.
All right.
We end this thing now. Ethel's the winner. I know. Yeah, good morning, Ethel. Thanks for attending. And all right, let's go on to Annette from Durham. I think we pretty much killed the carnivore thing. How soon after having a baby would I be able to start the body contouring and skin tightening services? I think I'll answer this. I know a lot about that. So we have a body contouring center in Suite 202, which is next to our Durham office, in Suite 201. So if you've been to the Durham office to do an office visit there, it's in the immediate space next door. And anyway, we do non-surgical body contouring there. So look, the answer is you could do it immediately after, but I would suggest, I always like to tell people that those sorts of services, whether they're surgical or non-surgical, you want to make sure you're losing weight or have lost some weight already. Okay, they're not meant to be done in conjunction with somebody who's gaining weight. Okay, if I did liposuction, we sent you to a surgeon to do liposuction and you gain 50 pounds, well, that's not going to help, is it?
And that happens all the time.
Exactly. So I like to see that people are on track and losing, or that they've all lost some weight already and they're maintaining. This is the kind of patient I think it's ideal for. So if you're delivered and you're back on a diet and it's solid and you're losing weight and you want to do that, we'd love to have you. You can reach right out to either one of our offices and we'll put you in touch with Anna, who's our nurse specialist who does these procedures. She'll do a free evaluation on you, let you know what's involved. We won't hard sell you. We're not in the business of that. So it's a really cool thing. We've launched a ton of information on our website. So go to simonsmetabolics.com. Check it out, right?
Yes. Thank you for that question, Nat. And I see Ethel's asking if it's a good idea to eat fruits for snacking. It's the sugar I question, even though it is natural. And you are absolutely right, Ethel, to
Ethel's
question
right on the
that.
money.
Yeah.
You're right on the money, Ethel.
Yeah.
That's
This
exactly
also,
right.
you know, we can say it's not that fruit is bad, right? This is not good about good or bad, but fruit does have a lot of natural sugar, and the fruit we eat today that has been genetically modified to have lower fiber, lower nutrients, and higher sugar, so that it's tasty. It definitely will raise blood sugar a lot in a lot of individuals. Even if it doesn't, the fructose in sugar, and there's different types of sugar. Fructose is a type that a lot of people know about from the high fructose corn syrup. It's processed a little different in the body. The liver has to do a lot more work, and it ends up causing, in many cases, a lot more metabolic consequences than just straight sugar that we know about, like table sugar. So fructose, whether it's high fructose corn syrup or whether it's in fruit that we're eating a lot of, not necessarily a good thing. I will say this though, if you do not want to be on a ketogenic diet, you want to include fruit, make sure you are eating whole fruit and not drinking the juice. Okay? You want to chew your calories. You do not want to drink your calories. And there's something to be said for having fruit with a protein snack. So with nuts, with cheese, on top of a salad, like mixed into a chicken salad, because that will change some how our body is going to respond to it.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with that. If you're gonna eat it, I'm not a big fruit fan, but if you're gonna eat it, I would go with berries or green apples.
Yes, berries are great.
So the more, in other words, you want that sour texture. That's that means you got less fructose in there. Now, fructose is metabolized in the liver. See, glucose is what our body normally uses, right? And glucose can be metabolized by every cell. This is not true of fructose. Fructose has to be metabolized in the liver on the same pathway that alcohol is. So people who have a lot of fructose get all the same diseases of the alcoholic, including fatty liver disease and that sort of thing. It's just now the number one cause of liver transplant here in the United States. So the idea of eating excessive amounts of fruit, again, I question that. I question whether that is a good idea, particularly the modern fruit. I mean, look, if you eat a cup of grapes, you might as well eat a Snickers bar. Right? I mean, this is where you're at.
Tropical fruit.
It is.
That's why it's so tasty.
Yes. Right.
So tasty.
Sweet and juicy, right?
Yes.
Sweet and juicy, and welcome to the world of diabetes and fatty liver disease, right? So I'm not a big fan of this sort of thing. Just because it grows on a plant or a tree or whatever doesn't mean that it's good for us. Imagine if I went out and told you, go eat some poison ivy. Oh, this is good for you because it's a plant, right? You have to be a little more advanced in your thinking than that. And just because the person who's going to make money on it wants to sell it to you and tell you that it's healthy, doesn't mean you should accept that at face value. Okay.
Yeah, great question, Ethel. And Candace, thank you for entering and for the comment about lots of information. That's what we're here for. We're here to give all kinds of information. And then our website has a ton more. So visit simonsmetabolics.com if you want more.
Be a skeptic about what you put in your mouth.
Yeah,
Be
a healthy skeptic is a good way to approach life.
It's okay to be critical until it's okay to it is okay to be critical and then realize, okay, well, maybe I was wrong.
And that's really the key to being a good consumer of information, is to be able to say, you know what, I thought it was that way, and now I learned some new information, and it's not. And to be able to admit that, hey, what you once thought wasn't actually correct, that is really powerful, really important. And I wish more scientists and researchers and
it's a way to go through the process. This is what we're supposed to do, right? It doesn't mean you can't change your mind about things.
All right, we're going to move on to Penelope.
Step off the set. Keep going with Penelope.
Penelope from Apex is asking, is it true that weight loss or that weight issues tend to be genetic and can make it harder for some to lose weight than others? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Penelope will, genetics will play a huge role, Penelope, in our ability to gain weight or lose weight. It can make it more difficult to lose, harder to keep off once you've lost it. So genetics are absolutely a role. And a lot of us know this, right? We know that if we struggle, generally we're not the only one in our family that struggles. And we see this happen in families where many individuals will struggle with their weight. Just like sometimes there's genetics with certain types of cancers, or there's a lot of diabetes or blood pressure in a family. Weight is no different. It's a chronic medical condition that has genetic and environmental influences.
That's exactly right. That's right. Yeah. So I think that that's another thing I think over the next 50 or 100 years, it's going to become very apparent. But this idea of, we assume that we just get our genetics from passed down from our ancestors, right? Okay, and from our mother and father. But there's also something called epigenetics. And so your interaction with things in the environment can actually change your genetic code. This is the scary part, right? And particularly when it comes to things that you eat and drink, all right? These things apparently can interact, some of them, with your genetic code and can turn on these genes that promote obesity, right? So think of your genes as having a switch, an on and off switch, and the ones, like everyone's, if you simplistically think about it, everyone's got a genetic ability to be obese, right?
That's how our ancestors survived.
Yes, and so, and there's like an on and off switch to those genes. Now imagine the things that you're doing are flipping those switches, and so, boy, when you look at that body of information that's coming out of the world of maternity, child in the womb, mother rocking the pickles with pancake syrup or whatever, this sort of thing can turn those genes on and off in the child and doom them to a life of obesity, right? And so I think from a public health standpoint, things are going to look a lot different 50 years from now, because we're going to have a really good idea about what things are doing this. And, to promote public health, there'll be lists of things. Don't eat this, for example, while you're pregnant. Don't eat or drink these things, right? And so that's where I see it all going in the long term.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I completely agree. Ethel has another question. How often do you suggest the injections like the ones you gave at the office a couple of weeks ago? So our free shop day. Yeah, so the Super B and Fat Burn Plus, which are lipotropic injections, contain B vitamins, amino acids, and other natural compounds that really help people feel better, moods better, energies better, sleeps better. B vitamins are generally used up in the body within 7 to 10 days. They're water-soluble vitamins. So many of our patients actually do get them once a week. You could extend that though. So I would say as frequently as once a week, but as often as you really would like. So some people it's every other week or just every 4 weeks when you're generally here for an office visit.
Yeah, that's right.
There's really no wrong way to do it. If you felt really, really good for about a week, come back in the next week, do it again.
I just got a text via phone from a listener. And so anyway, he's starting an exercise program. He wants to know about, how do I regulate my blood sugar while I'm exercising? And he happens to be on one of the glycoprotein-like peptide agonists for his blood sugar control. He has the diagnosis of diabetes. So here's my answer to that, is that, so this person's first name is Sherman. Sherman, I would say that the way to do that is a low to moderate intensity type of exercise. That type of exercise, say when your heart rate, say 120 beats a minute, Sherman and I are of similar age, you'll get that, say, walking, and your body primarily burns fat at that point and not as much sugar. But if you really do the high intensity stuff, now you're at 170, going up to 170, coming back, you tend to burn all your sugar, right? And then if you have something that lowers your sugar on top of that, then that could be an issue. And so you might have to actually, this would be the one scenario right when you're exercising or immediately after, if you ate a little bit of fruit right then.
Right.
Okay, that would bring that sugar back up. I prefer to have people do the lower intensity exercise and stay in that fat burning zone, so you don't have to do that, because then you stay in that fat burning zone, and that's really what you want, is burning fat and generating ketones, and this will lead to more weight loss. Ethel's got another question. Why is it more difficult for me to lose weight? Why is it more difficult to lose weight as you get older?
I think we addressed this actually just last show. That's a great question. We did touch on this. There are a lot of reasons. I think a big one is a loss of lean body mass, and then the hormonal changes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So more protein is really, really, really important in order to help. Do we think a Nutrisystem diet, Ethel's continuing to ask, diet is a good idea to pair with a program? And if so, why or why not? That's something I would say, give us a call, Ethel, at your next visit. We can talk more individualized about things like Nutrisystem. It's not for everyone to have like the meals that are planned, but for some people it works really, really well.
Yeah, I think the structure of it is the strength, right? So maybe the content's not as good as we would like, but the structure of it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you'll control your caloric intake in a very structured manner, is why people lose weight on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And so it's a very effective.
Yes.
Yeah. And we have people who come here, we put them on medicine and stuff to help with their appetite, and then they do that and they lose weight just fine.
Yes.
So I'm not against it, and but I do have a lot of people that say, well, you know what, I tried it and I could only do it for so long because I didn't like eating the same kind of these sorts of foods, right? So okay, that's understandable. I mean, I think that's true of a lot of things, not just Nutrisystem. All right.
I agree. All right, we're gonna move on to Beth from Carrie. Does probiotics and gut health help with weight loss? Do you recommend them in your practice? There is a product that we do actually carry that went through trials and did show some weight loss. This is sort of a new thing where we're looking at things like probiotics and supplements that could help with weight loss. We have some fantastic pharmaceuticals that we know help, but this is newer when we're looking at things like probiotics. The brand that we carry is Metagenics. You can see just kind of a part of our sign to the left here.
Right over here.
Right over there. But Metagenics has Ultraflora Control, which is a probiotic that is shown to help reduce body weight. Plus, it's good for overall gut health. We also have a full spectrum and then an immune support one. With probiotics, I would be picky about what you're getting. There are some that are really great and some that are not so great. And just like our line carries ones for different reasons, there are other probiotics that will be more specific for something like women's health or IBS type symptoms. So that they can be more specifically aligned. But for weight loss, this Metagenics one is for sure the one we would recommend. And you can get it in either our offices or through our website.
Yeah, that's correct. Absolutely. All right. Christina from Durham. Oh, have you seen the show Fat, a documentary? And do you recommend patients watch it?
Oh, I have not.
I can't say I've seen Fat.
Oh,
yeah.
Is this Netflix? Are you live? Can you tell us where this is?
Right,
is this on Netflix?
A lot of documentaries
there are
out
a lot
there
of
about.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
There's a lot of these sorts of things that are out there that are generally pretty good, and so. I haven't seen this particular one.
I have not. I think I heard about another one called Fat Fiction that was very good. Dr. Westman.
Oh, yeah. Eric Westman's on it. Okay, good. All right. Well, I hope they're presenting fat in a
I would say if
light.
Dr. Westman's on it, hopefully it is debunking a lot of the myths that we talk about, where fat has been vilified for so long, and grains and sugar and ultra processed crap basically has been pushed on us. And if that is the case, yes, I would recommend anything that helps us rethink our original, 80s talk of fat is bad and grains are good. It's more about keto.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's
producers helping
us. This kind of brings up a
here.
good point. I don't really see that many folks out there anymore making these sort of things, demonizing fat. They, like I said, they really don't have an intellectual leg to stand on. And so they're running out of, when you actually finger them and say, show me what you got. Like I said, it comes back to this sort of, we sat down with a few people who have a lot of initials after their name and they said fat's bad. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, if they told you the sun didn't come up in the morning, would you believe that just because they had the initials behind their name? So I think what we're finding out is, is that, hey, wait a minute, fat's not bad. And people like Eric Westman have been part of that message of saying, look, let's quit saying that sort of thing, right? Naturally occurring fat is not a bad thing. Yeah, I always say that I'm going to pick on a brand here, and so probably I think people get the idea. I'd rather say the brand name. There's this product that everyone knows who's grown up in this country that has a kind of a black, darker colored cookie on either side, and in the middle is a white filling. Okay, now that white filling is made of fat and sugar.
Yes.
Right? That kind of fat in that product is not a naturally occurring fat.
That's not the kind of fat we're promoting.
So I will say that sort of fat is not a good fat.
That's
you have to man make that fat.
Yes.
that's what's called a trans fat.
Yes.
See, and that's not something that we
Yes.
like, right? So when I say naturally occurring fat, I mean like the fat off of animals,
Egg yolks.
That's right. Yeah, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Olive oil, things that naturally occur, right?
Avocados,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We're going to wrap up with April from Raleigh. Why are the last 5 to 10 pounds so hard to lose? Oh, this could be a big conversation about what we call metabolic adaptation. You may have heard us say this before or in the office at your visit. It is basically our biologic drive to regain weight once we've lost, or to at least stop us from losing any more. And it is strong. And it is the main reason that it's difficult to lose weight and to maintain weight, but especially those last 5 to 10.
Yes.
I talk about a rubber band effect a lot, where if this is where your weight started, imagine there's a rubber band around here, and as you lose weight, the tension builds and the resistance builds, and it gets harder and harder and harder and harder. And all you got to do is let go. And not only usually does it shoot there, but sometimes it shoots past, like rubber band will. And that resistance, that is your body basically fighting back, saying, I don't want you to lose this weight. Please eat more calories. Please burn less calories. And it can be so incredibly frustrating, especially when you've gotten to a certain point and you just want to get a little bit more. But April, you are not alone. This is a struggle for, I would say, everyone.
Yes.
I don't know anyone that just cruises to their goal weight. And I've done this for 10 years, done it for far longer. No one just cruises to their goal weight and just like, they're done and they're there and then they stay there. It's not a thing.
I mean, I think your body is designed to protect you from starvation, right? But not obesity. It's thinking, okay, the famine is coming. So let's get back to that highest weight, right? And so anyway, but making the last 5 to 10 by your rubber band analogy is really, really hard. And not only that, but keeping it there. I don't know a lot of people, keeping it there is hard. And the finish line's the grave, as I always say. You got to keep working it, right? Okay, you can't, you can't always get what you want. You can't have your cake and eat it too. That's the bad news, right?
Yes.
So you have to actually, impose some, in a country like this, you'll always have to impose discipline on yourself.
Yeah.
It's required and to stay thin. So
we dropped on the comment section the Fat documentary link, I believe, right? Yeah. Our producer watched it, and it aligns with what we've been teaching and saying.
Good.
Perfect.
All right,
Perfect.
excellent.
That works out really well.
Madam Producer,
yeah.
to the rescue.
April, I will also say, I think a lot of my patients have heard me say this. Sometimes we do have to reevaluate our goals. If we've lost 50 and the last 5 are what just keeps us from being able to accept that it's time to maintain, that can be really, really hard. Sometimes though, still wanting to lose that last 5 or 10 is what prevents us from regaining the last 50 or 70 pounds or 30, whatever it is. So I will say, hey, let's reevaluate goals in a way that you don't feel like you failed just because you're not all the way, but that doesn't mean we stop trying either. We always want to keep trying, because pushing down on that rubber band is what's going to prevent it from snapping back up.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll hear us provide all kind of encouragement information at your visit. All right.
Okay.
Oh.
Winner of the JCPenney Gift Card, Michelle Zoom.
It is Ethel. Thank you so much, Ethel, for being so lively in our comment section. We so appreciate that, and for entering for a JCPenney gift card this time. We will contact you about you're getting that gift card. We're open in both offices. Give us a call.
Yeah, that's right. Give us a call. Love to see you. We're open in both locations, and thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.